Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Tonight is the April 11, 2024 Town Board Workshop. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hope everyone is well. This is just our work session where Town Board discusses various topics. Tonight we have two discussions. First off, we have our Town Assessor, Ms. Kathy Martin. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming. And if everybody remembers, a little while ago, the Town Board passed a law to up our exemptions for our seniors and our emergency medical personnel and firematic personnel as well. So we just wanted to get a little discussion with our assessor since it is time, almost time, right, Assessor? Almost time.
Yes.
When is that date? May?
Well, we're getting ready to file the tentative assessment roll as of May 1st. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about tonight was exemptions. I think it's important for everyone to know that the town of East Fishkill passed a resolution and offered the highest level in the whole county for their veterans, for combat veterans. And I think that's really important for people to know, that the town values their veterans and that they went to the highest level, much higher than anybody else in any other municipalities in the county. So we were able to offer a much greater savings for our veterans, but also the senior citizens limits were raised this year. And a lot of people, I think, got those little postcards in the mail. They were sent out by the county. And what that did was, the school districts, most of them, the county and the town all raised the income levels for senior citizen exemptions very substantially. So a lot more people are now able to save and on their taxes, people over 65, based on income. And also this year, we had a new exemption for the firematics, the volunteer firemen. And I wanted to thank East Fishkill Fire District, especially Chris Joldowski, because he was really my point person at the district and helped us get the word out to all the volunteer firemen and to have that. They were really well prepared when they came in for the exemption. The fire district and I worked together. We had a lot of questions because this was a new exemption. We had the town attorney assist us with our questions, and we were able to really roll out the exemption, I think, in a really effective manner, where everybody knew what they were, what paperwork was needed, and it really was very seamless. So, but all of this being said, we processed 400 more exemptions in our office this year. So this is, it's a really good savings for a lot of different sects of the population. And I'm here for questions if anybody has any.
So have you seen a large amount come in?
Yes. We actually saw over 400 more filings this year than we've had in the past. So that was a tremendous, a lot more people are able to save now. And with the low-income senior exemption, that's completely different from STAR. When everyone got the postcard, they all thought it was STAR, that is what it had to do with, but it's not. The low-income senior exemption was made into law in the 60s, and we've always had that exemption for people over 65 based on their income, but the income limits were very low. So now they're coming up to where so many more people will be able to get into the program. And really, quite honestly, this is what helps people stay in their homes. Because if you make under $35,000 a year for the town taxes, you could decrease your taxes by 50%.
Wow.
So it's a tremendous savings for the seniors who deserve it, and it's based on their income and residency,
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a senior or a volunteer firematic, EMS, personnel, you can qualify for this, obviously, and you get a reduction in your assessment. So for the people at home to understand, then what happens with that assessed value, right? We have to still collect a certain amount of dollars for our taxes that the town levies. It just means that everybody else has to pick up that assessment, correct?
Right. That's correct.
Good thing for the town of East Fishkill, we have a very robust economic development plan that we have been adding more and more industrial development to our rolls, which can then, in part, lower the amount that the other people have to absorb. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Excellent.
And I think it's important to note also that the town's action only affects the town district, the town taxes, and that the school district has a separate
Yes.
process that they have to go through, and the counties. So just the fact that the town has changed things doesn't mean it's going to be mirrored by all the other tax entities.
Right. They're mostly at different levels. Our senior citizen sliding scale, we mirror the counties at this time, but the school districts are a little bit different.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, excellent. Comments from the board, questions?
Kathy, just a clarification, a senior that is also volunteer EMS, they qualify for both exemptions?
Yes, they would. Yeah, the volunteer fireman exemption is 10% off of your assessed value. And if you have two people in a household that are both qualified, that they're both firemen, fire people, fire police.
EMS?
Yes, they would both be able to get the exemption.
Excellent, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yep, and the same goes with veterans as well. We've had cases in the last several years where we've had two veterans, husband and wife, buying
Wow.
properties, yeah.
So the process is, if they would like this, they can't go online to enroll in this, they have to come in?
Yeah, these exemptions, you do have to come in because they are not the veterans, what you need to qualify for that is, it's based on residency, but we need a copy of your DB 214, the discharge papers, and that's how we process that exemption. So that is not income dependent. That's just based on your military service. The volunteer firemen, there's a list of things that they have to provide for us from the fire district, their fire card, copy of their fire card, copy of the driver's license, a signed letter by the fire chief, and the completed New York State form. And the senior citizens, they do have to come in person as well because that's income dependent, so we have to work with them and collect their income papers, their income tax, or year-end statements, so,
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, thank you. I know it's been a lot of work, so hats off to you and your staff. It's been, I know, I've seen the lines.
Yes, I'd like
At
to
your
thank
office.
Denise. She's here with us tonight. Denise and Diane did a wonderful job, and we had basically double of what we've had in the past, so everything went well.
Can we get some of that
Very happy.
information on Channel 22? Because not everybody, certainly the seniors, don't always go on their computers and check the town website. and stuff.
Absolutely. We can post that on our
See
local
that.
channel
That's where
22.
they can take advantage of it.
What's,
I know it's a workshop, but being that Kathy is here, can we get a question into her?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, at the workshop, normally we don't.
Oh, you know,
Follow the rules.
I mean,
you're a rule follower. All right, I like that.
Bet you a line stepper.
What I wanted to know is, now, volunteers or whatever, when does that start for them? Immediately, or,
Oh, the volunteer firemen?
yeah, or EMS?
No, they have to be for a few years. Yeah, and it's different. The town, the county, and the school are all different. So one is 2 years, one is 3 years, and one is 5 years.
Okay, got it.
So there may be some people who've only been doing it 2 years in the town, so they may not get it off of school right away, but they, as the exemption goes on, like in the next year or two, they would qualify.
One more thing. If you have two people in the household, and both of them are veterans, but only one name is on the deed, how would that work?
They have to be an owner of record, so they would have to have their name on the deed. Yeah.
So even though there's two veterans,
But only one owns the house. Only one owns the house. You can't rent a vet to come in and get the exemption, yeah? And Kathy, what's the cutoff date for filing?
The filing is March 1st.
No, so can they still come in and apply?
They can come in and apply for next year, yeah. Or if there was any senior citizens that maybe were unable to come in due to being in the hospital, or there's always an exception for that. If they missed the March 1st deadline, they could always come in and apply, and then the grievance board will hear their case.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very good.
Excuse me, Kathy, I believe on the fire department, they have to do X amount of calls a year. They actually have to be active members of the fire department to-
Yes.
to qualify for that
Yes.
exemption, right?
That's
They
the-
do.
The chief's letter certifies that.
Yes, right, the chief signs off on that, and they bring that and present it to us, and we keep all that in our files.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have to be active,
They have to be
right?
active.
Yes.
Right, so Mr. Grasso brought the fire department pizzas once, that don't count.
No, unless he showed up 200 times.
No, and I just can't say how good the fire department was to work with. They were excellent. I mean, they really partnered with us to get this done, so very grateful to them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate that update.
Okay.
Next, we are going to be talking to our CPC, or our Comprehensive Plan Committee, on an update to our master plan. As I've been discussing for months and months, we're in the midst of our comprehensive master plan review. It's been 20-plus years since our last one, and we just had a very successful meeting at our community center. It was our first public engagement meeting with the committee. First, I'd like to thank all the members of the Comprehensive Plan Committee, the chairman, John Eichman. He's been doing a tremendous job. Thank you to the liaison, Councilwoman Flores. It's a lot of work. I've been saying this over and over. It's very hard to find dedicated volunteers to these sort of committees because it's such a time commitment, and I'm very thankful. The whole town board is thankful, and the community will be very thankful when the final plan is presented to the town board. And tonight we have Emily Gartner from Saratoga Associates, which is our consulting engineers that the town board hired for the comprehensive master plan, to give us an update. How are you, Emily?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good, because I don't talk very loud. So tonight, I just wanted to take everybody through a timeline of the process to date, tell you a little bit about the community vision that the committee has developed, what we're putting into the plan, or plan to put into the plan, and also take us through the public engagement that's been done to date. There's been quite a bit done, so I'll let you see some of the results of the survey if you're not familiar, a few snapshots from the public meeting that we just had, give you an idea of what topics we've talked about to date and what we still have ahead of us, and then where you guys will all come in toward the end of the process. So if anyone didn't realize, the last master plan was adopted back in 2002. So it was due for an update, and this process began in late summer, early fall of last year, with the committee being formed, and we started meeting in October. And we started out with a logo and a vision statement, and I'll show you that and explain how it came to be. And then we started going topic by topic through various things. We've had guest speakers come and meet with the committee. We're meeting each month, generally the first Thursday, right here. So as we started talking about what should the vision for the town be for the next 15 to 20 years, what's going to guide the development, we first started with this tagline that came out of this, keyword type of brainstorm with the committee, that East Fishkill is the junction of community, commerce, and country. And you may have heard that on a little public video snippet on YouTube. But these terms were chosen because the junction as the place where everything is kind of coming together, but also a nod to Hopewell Junction and the history of the community. And the word community as representing, small town values and friendliness were something that came up in those first discussions. Stories of people like helping someone change their tire who doesn't even live here, and that great small town vibe. And then commerce, so recognizing the importance of the local economy, but also the ties to the broader region, just based on all the highway connections and really that strategic position that the community has. And then the word country, which we talked about in two senses, both history, and as you just acknowledged, you're a great support for your veterans, and working on the Veterans Park across the street. And then also country in the sense of the agricultural, the rural character. A lot of people were talking about the scenic value here. So all of those pieces came into play in the logo that you see that was developed. And so this is what's been guiding the plan to date. And the vision statement itself, and I will not read it word for word, but we made sure to incorporate elements about the economy, agriculture, manufacturing and technology, but then also the cultural heritage, about history and the local cultural aspects, the open space and recreation, which repeatedly rise to the top of discussions in the community, and then creating that inviting, safe, and secure place to call home. And we want to make sure that's inclusive for everyone, so that's something we're keeping in mind as we talk about different topics. So within the plan itself, we're making sure to structure everything. So we have each topic. We provide a little bit of information and background about that topic, tie it back to the vision, make sure that we're always thinking about that guiding statement. And then we will be outlining goals and policies and making sure that there are implementation metrics. So it's great to read the plan, but how do you, 5 years from now, see what your progress has been? So we're going to make sure that there are things that you can refer to see how the implementation is going. And within the plan right now, we keep shifting things around a little bit as we develop each section. But we're starting out with a community snapshot. That's a bit of an introduction, where the town is currently, what the trends have been over time. Then talking about history, arts, and culture, economic development, housing, open space, agriculture, natural resources, community services, so that includes everything from government level aspects to your fire and EMS, highway departments, all of that being involved there. Infrastructure, sewer and water, cell service, all of that has come up in discussion so far. And finally, transportation, but also making sure that we're thinking beyond just vehicles. So public engagement to date, before I was even brought on board, there were some department interviews that were conducted. And then as soon as we started the project, one of the first things we did was set up a dedicated website. So Saratoga Associates is hosting it, just so that I have easy access to be able to keep everything up to date. But there's a direct link from the town website, and that's where we're putting the committee information, all the meeting materials, everything from the public meeting is there. And if we come across any background studies or related information, we're also linking it from there. We also have a dedicated Gmail address, so anytime anybody can send an email and I will get it, and a couple members of the committee will get it. So it's a great way to just keep in touch. If people miss a meeting or have a thought as they're falling asleep at night, they can send us a note. Or if you go somewhere really cool on vacation and you just want to say, hey, can we do this? Feel free to send us a photo.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Or if you have photos of things that you love, and I'll just put in this plug here for anybody who wants to share photos, we'd love to incorporate photos of the town, of different activities, of your favorite places right into the plan. So please feel free to send us those.
That's great, but it doesn't mean take pictures of your neighbor's yard and say, this is what I don't want.
I think you would like to direct that to the zoning department.
Yes, exactly.
So we also, well, not me specifically, but Marianne and Nick got together and did a little video that was posted on YouTube and ran on the local channels, just to share information about this process and about, at that time, the public survey which was put out, which fantastic response. Kudos to everyone, and thank you to everybody who responded to that. Much better than most communities I've worked with. And then we also presented those results at the public open house that we just had a few weeks ago. And coming up, there'll be a little fireside chat video that will be aired ahead of the second public meeting. And that meeting's anticipated to kind of present all the various goals that we're looking at in the plan. So if anybody wasn't familiar, I just summarized some of the results from the public survey. So it was active for about a month, and there were over 2,000 responses. And most of the people who responded were 36 to 75. It very much mirrors the demographic of the town. Most of the people were just living in town, some also worked in town, and if you looked at where the most responses came from, it really is from where the population is concentrated, so that seems to reflect an accurate depiction of reaching various parts of the community. And I definitely wanted to share why people chose to come here. This was one of the questions that we had. It kind of ties into everything you've already mentioned this evening, but those natural resources, the recreation assets keep coming up. Specific mentions of the rail trail were included. That feeling of safety, the small town feeling, the convenience of it, being located, a lot of commuters, it's great for them. And then family and school. So a lot of people were raised here and came back here, or thought it was a great place for their family and liked the school district. And of course, comments about it being lower taxes and more affordable, specific comments about Westchester, New York City as comparison points. So you're definitely getting some folks coming in from there, but I don't think that's a surprise. And speaking of that, housing has been a very popular topic, both in public comments, coming up at the meeting, among the committee. As we talk about things, we keep circling back. A lot of things tie together. So the infrastructure and transportation and the workforce keep tying us back to housing. So both in the survey and in discussions, it's single-family housing, but maybe not as large as some of the homes are. The starter home size, trying to find a type of housing that can accommodate seniors, can accommodate recent graduates who are ending up kind of moving back in with their parents sometimes right now because they can't afford to buy and sometimes can't afford to rent. And places for those smaller families. So we've seen that the family size, the household size is getting smaller. So rather than a 3-bedroom house, they maybe need a 2-bedroom house. So ways to accommodate that. And within the public feedback, some of the ideas that were supported were finding ways to incorporate mixed use, so putting some apartments above retail or office space, and a lot of votes for these cottage-style development that you see, the little smaller bungalow communities. So we're looking to see if there are places that seem appropriate for that. When it comes to the economy, it's wanting more of the small-scale businesses. Fitness and recreation, there's, again, over and over again, is support for agriculture and support for the local farmers. There were tie votes on whether to include daycare and preschool type facilities, medical facilities, home-based businesses. Some of the challenge seems to be that striking that balance between keeping the rural character but also supporting additional development. And also, when you do bring in those businesses, where are their employees going to live? So those are topics that we've been discussing among the committee, working on some strategies for where do we feel is appropriate to locate these various uses. And then tourism and open space. So tying back to that being what brought a lot of people here, was very clear that many respondents to the survey, 85%, want the town to preserve more open space. As a committee, we have acknowledged that may also affect your tax rolls. But are there ways that could be something to work with development on, maybe some other strategies, but definitely an interest for more rail trail connections, hiking, biking, festivals, just getting people outside and active. And then the dining options, the small retail, kind of bringing some life after business hours to the hamlet centers. And when it comes to recreation, clear votes for a big indoor facility of some kind, a pool or a swimming pool, public pool, multi-purpose fields, and then senior services were also at the top of the list. When talking about which areas to prioritize for growth, again, this mirrors kind of where we got responses from. Hopewell Junction was at the top, followed by Fishkill Plains and Stormville. But there were some concerns about, no matter where we're looking to expand or add more development, there were concerns about the capacity of the current infrastructure and also conserving open space. And then transportation. So we just had guests from HVEA, the town's traffic engineers, consulting engineers, come and talk with the committee recently. They shared these concepts, and they were also shared at the public meeting for roundabouts and traffic calming strategies. There were a lot of comments, survey, write-in, public meeting about congestion, about wanting to be more pedestrian friendly. So that's something that's under development. And something we've also been discussing is really taking advantage of these two big trails that you have running through town, the Appalachian Trail and the Empire State Trail, and how can you capitalize on that and get people better connected to the hamlet centers, spending some time in town, hopefully spending a few dollars in town too, and just really discovering what the town has to offer. And sustainability was also a topic that was in the survey. But we're not just talking about what some people think of the environmental side only, and not all three aspects. So also the economic side, making sure the local economy is healthy, you have diverse businesses, and then you have the social aspects and well-being as well, a good quality of life. So the most popular topics were taking a look at the environment, concerns for habitat and stormwater, protecting things like wetlands and waterways, and then balancing that diverse economy with the other land uses and open space as well. There were some concerns about flooding, and then also, time and time again, we hear comments about we need housing for our seniors. As the committee, we've kind of talked about that in relationship to an aging population, and concerns about if too much senior housing was built, who lives in it 20 years from now. So we've been thinking about maybe not age-restricted housing, but still something that is affordable to a senior or to a brand new graduate. Land use and zoning. This was a fun one to read some of the comments on for what people wanted to do that they didn't feel they could do.
I'm sure.
Chickens.
The great chicken controversy of East Fishkill. We settled that a while ago.
We settled that, though.
So what we kind of realized is that maybe people weren't aware that there was an updated chicken law, so we did share that at the public meeting. We didn't get any further questions about chickens. But also questions about livestock, like wanting to have a single horse on their property, things like that. Again, you have an agriculturally based community, so they're interested in keeping that going on a small scale. Also some topics about tiny homes, accessory dwelling units, is something that we were talking about recently in discussions of housing, maybe reviewing those or what seems most appropriate to kind of get that affordable housing or multi-generational properties. And then zoning setbacks to physical constraints. There were some comments about, like I can't fit a shed based on the regulations, things like that. But there's continued support for agriculture and that open space. Maybe establishing an open space district, thinking about appropriate locations for solar and wind energy, possibly adding a historic district or two. And then when it came to expanding the tax base, you actually were just commenting on how the industrial growth that you have helps relieve some of the burden for residential properties. So how can we facilitate that to continue? There's some support for slightly expanding commercial districts. But again, there were some comments about the infrastructure, and the preference was for special assessment districts to support that type of growth. So that brought us to the open house, where we generally reviewed a lot of these topics on boards, and I did see some of your faces there. We had really great attendance at that. It was great to see everybody kind of chit-chatting in front of the boards and really processing all the information. I would say there's probably we had I think 62 official sign-ins, but some were couples or small families, so probably closer to 70 to 75 attendees. Lots of conversation. The time went by very quickly. And those comments that we got there continued to support agriculture and open space, prioritize recreation, youth services, senior services. I think there was also a suggestion for maybe a senior shuttle service. And then housing, again, the seniors workforce, interested in those smaller scale approaches to multifamily, not necessarily a large apartment complex, but a duplex or 2- or 3-story type apartment building. And when it came to transportation, making them more walkable, trying to calm down the traffic, ease some of the congestion, but also thinking about with 84 and the other routes here, is there an appropriate place to have maybe a service facility for some of that trucking and warehouse traffic? There's also a suggestion for a medical or professional office complex, realizing that the town is seeing some interest from neighboring communities that are kind of running out of that space. So to date, we've done quite a bit of work, but we still have a little bit ways to go. Our next topic, coming up on May 2nd, is open space and agriculture. That'll probably continue into June. And as we've gone along, the committee's been providing feedback on some draft goals and strategies for each topic. And coming up, there's going to be a farm tour. Sounds like fun to me. And then,
That's fun.
yeah. So maybe there'll be some baby animals along the way. I don't know. Sounds kind of fun. Then focused discussion on open space and land use and really reviewing the plan and the goals we've developed to date. Talking about recreation probably in August. And then we're looking at late August for the next public meeting to present all the goals on the various topics and get some feedback. Then we'll be reviewing the plan again before you see me again in September to show you what progress we've made. And we hope to have the full draft compiled in October. And then it will get handed over to you all to start the seeker process. And the goal is to help you keep that on track so that you can have an adopted plan by March of next year.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I want to say how much I appreciate, and I think you all see now how much work is going into this. It's a lot of work, as the supervisor said. And I probably didn't realize just how much work it was.
Sorry.
No. It's a lot of work, and I really appreciate the members of the committee who are so engaged and so involved.
That's the next step.
We have great rapport and dialogue at our meetings. I also want to say many, many thanks to Rosemary Lasher, our coordinator, and Michelle Robbins, our planner, who have been incredible to work with, and Emily and Don Minery from Saratoga. This is a lot of work, and I guess we're 6 months into it now. And we've been doing a lot of meeting, learning, listening, discussing, and now we're really moving into what I call putting the meat on the bones, the really hard work, and where we're defining the goals, the policies. And what's really important to all of us is that this is something that we'll be able to measure in the future and report back and identify which of the goals are what I call the low-hanging fruit and which are more longer term, but really lay that out clearly. But a lot of work is going into this, and I think you can see from all the public outreach, this is an open process. We welcome the input from the community, from the board members. It's a very open process. All the information is available, and we appreciate everybody's input. We want to get to the point in October, a lot of work to be done to get there, where we can present, the committee can present a draft to this board that I think represents what the town is looking for the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be as long as the last one, right?
no.
Don't wait until year 20 to think about starting the next effort.
Right.
I'll send you a reminder.
You'll send us, yeah. You'll probably be here around, I don't think we will be. But yeah, like we said, it's a tremendous amount of work, and that's why it's very, very thankful to the volunteers. It's taxing.
Yeah, it's
Take you
really
away
been,
from your families and your friends and, time off, so it's very much appreciated. Comments from the board?
I also have a comment. Following some of the local media and comments from some residents, they think that this is a foolish process, that at the end of the day, it's already preconceived what we want to accomplish. And that's absolutely untrue. The comments that we hear from the community are highly taken into consideration. This is our community. We have no secret agenda. I want to show the community that the work that these committees are doing, it's to benefit everybody. And still, if anybody has not been heard, we're open still to take comments. Please participate. There is no hidden agenda. I want to show everybody in the community. And I just want to thank all the professionals, all the community people that have helped through the process, and we still are halfway there, and we're going to try to deliver a great product.
Nice.
Yeah, we have had some members of the community sit in and listen during the committee meetings. I mean, everybody's welcome, so.
So you with Saratoga Associates, have you done other master plans in other communities?
We have done a few others, yeah. Different types of communities, so a city scale and a very small town. But I do say every time I come back to work here, like, the committees we get to work with here are the most engaged I think I've ever worked with, so it's really great. People who come bring ideas to the table and comments and are very ready to have that dialogue and to go and look something up and do some homework at home and come back the next time with more ideas. So it's really great.
That's great. And you said our response to our public survey
Yeah.
compared to others that you've seen is
I did a public survey up in the city of Plattsburgh, similar population size. We got less than 400 responses, I think. You had over 2,000, so, and it was really great. And theirs was also available online too. So you guys, I mean, those message boards and everybody spreading the word and talking to their neighbors really helps get the word out. And we want to make sure that, you know, people get a chance to provide their comments. I don't expect to come in and know what this town wants 15 years from now. So I want to make sure that, you know, it's our job to help facilitate the discussion and to make sure that we're listening to what your goals are for your community, because you are the ones who live here.
exactly. Any other comments?
I just want to thank all of you that are involved. This is I know it's a huge endeavor, and you guys are doing a great job. We're really, really pleased. And I just like what Councilman Marinaro just said. I agree with him 100%. There's some outside people who think that we just rubber stamp everything and that we're not going to do any of this, but I think this is a great guideline, and we've always been committed to growing our town, but wisely, what we like to call smart growth. So we'll take our baby steps, whatever we have to do, but we want to move forward, and we certainly want to be reflective of what the community wants. But thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we are having next week, next Thursday evening, April 18th, our Economic Development Committee is hosting a meeting here with our local business owners to discuss the comprehensive master plan. That will be right here at Town Hall, 6:30 on April 18th. I'm sorry, excuse me, 6 p.m. on April 18th. And a lot of business owners in the community don't live in the town, so they don't get to hear this information. They don't get to watch Channel 22 or watch it on YouTube. So it's very important that we get the information, we get the opinions from our local business owners, because they're the backbone of our community, right? That we want to make sure that they continue to thrive now and into the future. So please, if you're a local business owner or you're friendly with business owners, please tell them. We are advertising that. It'll be out on our message board, and we will put on Channel 22 next Thursday evening here at Town Hall, a meeting with our local business owners. So, any other comments or questions? No?
And as far as the business owners is concerned, I remember a few years back, we met with the small business community, and that's what spurred a lot of new ideas that the town board and the town supervisor came across. So it is a vital component of our community, the small business community. Whatever you want to address at this juncture, please participate, come out. I've made a few phone calls, I've given some cards out, because your time is valuable and your opinion is extremely important to us and to the town of East Fishkill.
Thank you, Councilman. And we did have good results from our last local business meeting, right?
Yep.
We changed some policies and procedures. We listened to the business owners and heard them and say, what can we do better? How can we change things? And we did that.
And they are very pleased.
Yeah, and they're very pleased.
You know, you hear the comments from whether you're a builder or a restaurant owner, the town works properly, town hall is very efficient, and yeah, we did make some big changes.
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. Thank you to our assessor again. And our next town board meeting is April 25th, 2024, right here at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. Werewolves of London. Ahoo. You hear him howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo, ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. He's the hairy-handed gent who ran amok in Kent. Lately he's been overheard in Mayfair. You better stay away from him. He'll rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet his tailor. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo. Well, I saw Lon Chaney walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's.